you're wearing a black band, sort of a melancholy day.
Yeah, yeah. It really is. I mean, Bob was just a wonderful individual. You know, and I know that you hear that a lot when people pass away, but, you know, when we say that about Bob, it's really true. He's just a wonderful, wonderful person. Never had a bad word to say about anybody. Always had, you know, something funny or to bring humor to something. Always had a smile on his face. And Bob was the type of person that did not put others down to make a joke. Bob was the type that would tell a story about himself. And he had a wonderful, wonderful memory and could bring up stories that many of us would just as soon forget. But Bob had that memory and that ability to bring back stories, and he was always the butt of his own joke. He had a way of always kind of using a situation that he'd been in and just using it to make you laugh.
That's important, that we laugh at ourselves.
Yeah.
We never take ourselves too seriously. He was here 30 years,
Uh-huh.
Clark, is that right?
Yep.
So I presume
A
he
total
was
of 29 years with the sheriff department.
brought up through the ranks, probably started
Certainly.
as a
Started out as
reserve?
as a correctional officer under Sheriff Andy Atelski, and he
Andy, who?
Andy Atelski. Andy was his first name, Andy Atelski, Atelski. Andy Atelski. Andy's still he's still alive.
He
Yep.
opened up his own body shop.
Yep. But Bob started under Andy Atelski as a correctional officer. In fact, he started in the old jail, which is across the street over here by the river. And of course, you know, we all had a passion to become a deputy sheriff, and Bob had that passion too as well. And he applied for and was hired as a deputy sheriff under Andy Atelski. And then he served through 8 years of Sheriff Jim Jenkins, 8 years of Sheriff Bill Harris, 8 years of Sheriff John Marvel, and the last 3 years under Sheriff Greg Ewing.
Let's see. What year would it? First of all, how old was he?
Bob was 51 years old. He was born on August the 7th of 1962 in Bedford, Indiana. I can read this off real quick, Brent. I'll just give you some facts. He was born on August the 7th of 1962 in Bedford, Indiana. He graduated from Terre Haute North High School in 1980. He worked for the Vigo County Sheriff's Office for 29 years. He is survived by his wife of 27 years, Laura Bartlett, and his daughter, Katie. But I worked with Bob on the road. When I first started, I started on 3 to 11 shift, and Bob was a deputy on 3 to 11s, and I actually trained with him. He was back in the day, they didn't necessarily have training officers or field training officers, but you would ride with a senior deputy. And Bob was one of the first guys that I ever rode with when I came on the department. And, you know, he just always told you ways to stay safe and to stay out of trouble. And, you know, Bob was a very gentle individual. He would handle calls in a different way. He would, you never ever heard Bob get excited on the radio, and you never ever heard him yelling for help, you know. I mean, we would always go to back up each other, which is not common, but Bob had a way of dealing with people in his own way. He just de-escalated situations, you know, just by his persona and his personality, his presence. And he was just a very good guy.